you have a tab. You are hot pink right here. And there you are.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, so Bob Hanley will introduce you. Yeah, I was going to say, like, do what you need to, get comfortable.
All right.
And you should be good to go. So the big thing is, like, Bob's probably not going to remember to, like, flip the page, right? So just take your time, get to your spot, be good to go.
Gotcha.
All right. This thing will show your face. So just don't distract yourself. Because I know that I like catch myself doing this. It was like, hey, all right, I look good.
Okay.
It'll just show. This shows what's up here. So
Okay.
it's just so you don't have to like turn around. Like we have other people who are speaking who they have like things that'll kind of do stuff behind them, like the feature speaker and that kind of stuff. So just so you're not like startled, you're like, oh my face. Like, but it's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
The camera is dead ahead.
Yes.
And this is your room.
Okay. I'm ready.
Ready?
Yep.
All right, sweet. I think you are.
Yeah.
So you're table 5, so sit where you're comfortable. It's totally up to you.
Thank
The
you.
deputy mayor will be sitting there, Bob Hanley will be sitting there, and a couple other folks. So
Okay.
you'll be good to go.
All right. Thank you.
Cool. You found some sticks. How bad was the accident? Yeah, if you can take down that middle thing, that would just be. Yeah, Jay, we just wanted to point out that part of the road there. Oh, take down that top. Yeah. So you can't even get off. You're just stuck. Which is always great at like 7 a.m. Not even, yeah. Well, and that's what like Lauren was on the Kennedy, and she's like, accident on the Kennedy. I was like, damn, nobody's gonna get here. Crazy. Yeah, these will work. Oh, Mark's here. Great. You want to talk to Mark? Make sure he's all good. We're good. We're gonna yeah, we're fine. We're gonna do a run through, and we'll be good. Yeah. If you go into the bays, there's a room. Where's Jay? It's like the lottery. Yeah, that sucked. I'm glad that worked out. Sarah, can you find Jay? Yeah, he's got a job. Yeah. Can you find Jay so he can just mess with these? Kevin, can you direct Jay? We got our extra poles. So there's that pole to make that one not a shorty. And then here's your. No, there's the other one. It's just the double. And then here's your tribe. For the one that you took out back there.
Check 1, 2. Good morning. Welcome to our 7th annual Employment Champions Breakfast. As we continue to navigate the world during COVID, I'm thrilled to have so many of you joining us here in person today. Blah, blah, blah. The clicker's right there, yeah.
Probably best to leave it there. No?
Right, yep.
So we should just let her know it's there?
Yep, I'll
Okay,
let her know.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I think I'll run
It's
through.
probably best down there because it's going to be, this way it doesn't end up falling on the ground. It's a good spot actually for a little.
Yeah, right there is perfect.
Perfect.
All right, I'll let Dr. Goger know.
Okay.
And then I think I'm gonna, are they up there? I'm gonna tell them we'll roll through those sponsor slides really quick when Marie goes through all those slides.
Like the actual program slides?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guys are, Eddie's, let me go, I'll let him know.
Okay.
You want to put them up now?
Huh? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think they just moved them. Oh, you're the banner moving guy? That's awesome. Hey, Eddie, if we can roll through the program slides where she goes through all the sponsors and everything, I'll just read them off here from the podium and then we'll just go through them. Oh, he did? Oh, I didn't see. The monitor's in the way. Good or no? Want me to keep talking? Good. Good?
and the youngest is 3 years old. My journey to that moment started 7 years ago. At the time, I was working for a retirement facility where I had been for a few years. I was in a cycle of living paycheck to paycheck.
We'll do announcements. Yeah. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please kindly take your seats. Our program will begin shortly. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our program is about to begin. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Marie Trupac Lynch, President and CEO of Skills for Chicagoland's Future.
Good morning. Like, look around. We are in a room together, right? I mean, that's a congratulations, right? So nice. Last year, you know, we were only allowed to have 20 people in the room. We actually had to take back invitations because what was happening. And this year, I'm so happy that you're all here. I know it was hard to, like, you know, put on the suit and do our hair. So thank you. I know this is a big deal to be here, and it means a lot for the work that we're doing today. Today is our 7th annual Employment Champions Breakfast. I'm so happy to tell you that we have 92 sponsors this year, new all-time high, 92, which is extraordinary. And I would have never guessed this would have happened during a year like this, but we actually have raised more money this year than we ever have historically. We have a new all-time high of $1.26 million, and we haven't even finished the day. Just to give you a point of comparison, this is our 7th annual. At our first annual event, we raised $250,000 and had 25 sponsors. So if that doesn't tell you about what the city cares about in terms of unemployment, I don't know what does. So those of you at home, thank you. I hope you have a cup of coffee and maybe have a pair of slippers on and are enjoying watching this. I think it is important. I know the thank yous, sometimes we wonder, you know, why do we have to do those? We have so many sponsors who've really stepped up this year, and so I want to make sure I appropriately honor those. For our leading sponsors, our premier sponsors, I want to thank BDT and Company. I want to thank Greg and Anna Brown, the Chicago Fire, Hyatt, and Motorola Solutions. I would like to say that was planned in a drum roll, but that was not. All right, so to our presenting sponsors, I want to thank Aon, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, Rita and John Canning, Caraloop, CDW, Discover, GCM Grosvenor, Jewel Osco, Latham and Watkins, McDonald's, Margot and Tom Pritzker, Pritzker Pucker Family Foundation, Renser, UL, Ulta Beauty, and Walgreens. Thank you so much for sponsoring. I also want to give a special thank you, if you can just look at the list behind me, of the 17 sponsors that have sponsored this event for 7 years. I always believe in, like, looking back and thanking those who have been with you every step of the way. And so to those sponsors on this list, thank you so much. I also want to acknowledge the 23 skills hiring partners also behind me. These are companies that are hiring right now, have been with us this past year and are sponsoring us today. So thank you to those as well. We're proud to say that these employer sponsors, these 23 on this list combined, have hired 1,377 job seekers from Skills since COVID began last March. And they've put their money up to say thank you to. So thank you for engaging with Skills. I also want to thank our event committee, co-chaired by our fearless leaders, Jeff Childs and Mark Kendall. Thank you to you two. If you could stand up for a second. Jeff and Mark. Where's Mark? There he is. Thank you. And to our board members who've done an extraordinary job fundraising this year, and honestly being there with subject matter expertise and hiring and partnering with us and leading us through a very difficult last year with the economy. I want to acknowledge and thank Governor Pritzker for joining us today, thanking him again for all of his support. He was with us last year, and we're so grateful for his commitment to workforce equity and economic opportunity. Today's breakfast is really special. Let's enjoy this. We're going to highlight 3 of our key partners, which are really outstanding in terms of the work they've done. We're going to hear from a leading economist today about the opportunity gap, and I think she's going to challenge some thoughts that we all have. And you're going to have a chance to hear from 2 individuals who are going to share their personal stories, probably a little nervous, as their lives were directly impacted by this work. At home, sit back. For those of you here right now, enjoy your meals. And I'm going to direct you to our kickoff here, our video about skills, so we can show you what we've been up to. Take it away. I want to thank all the essential workers from 2020 and 2021 for helping get us through COVID. The essential workers were not just those at hospitals, but were also those that were at grocery stores and public transportation and got those essential workers to work. It's really critical that we remember them and thank them. So thank you to all of you who did that.
The pandemic really reinforced what we've already known at Julasco for over 100 years. Our employees are the backbone of our company.
I feel support from leadership as well as from the team that I work with. To me, that's very important when you work for a company to have that family atmosphere, to know that they have your back day in and day out.
Just feels good knowing I'm providing something for society that's beneficial. It feels good.
I think it's important to remember that it's the ones on the front line that are doing a lot of that heavy lifting.
I love working very diligently with the patients. I love being there for them. Their every need, I'm right there. Johnny on the spot, and they know it.
University of Chicago Medicine is the largest employer on the south side of Chicago, and so we have the greatest ability to make an impact on unemployment in the area.
We're working with many of our employers to actually look at embedding their operations and bringing the job directly into the community. We've been honored to serve alongside Discover Financial Services in supporting their efforts to bring 1,000 jobs to the Chatham, South Side neighborhoods of Chicago.
And I think skills gave us the confidence, right? Gave us the, kind of secret sauce to move faster and to hire people within 6 months.
One of the most fulfilling days of my entire professional career was attending the opening of the Discover Customer Care Center at the Chatham location.
We have operations centers all over the country, but this is our first operating center that is majority minority. When I think about our impact overall, our hope is that we have other companies that consider investing in South and West Side neighborhoods that are willing to join us and have a conversation with us about the success we've experienced.
I believe companies like Discover should invest in communities within Chicago because it's a lot of diamonds in the rough in here. If you're given a chance to do something, you can do it.
A lot of our work is really centered on the south side. We opened up our first satellite location in the Englewood community. It gets us closer to a lot of the community organizations that we're working with and partnering.
I think it's important for workforce organizations like Skills to be in Englewood. Collaboration is an extremely important part of community development because you really can't do it alone. And when you can add that expertise with another expertise and continue this kind of microcosm to grow, you really can do greater impact.
Having a place like Skills of Chicagoland is so important because so many people are looking for good paying jobs. We need that in our community. We really need that.
We were very fortunate to have EY work with us pro bono to develop our next 3-year strategic plan. I'm most excited about expanding the number of people we serve and place into jobs by an additional 4,500, which will get us to close to 15,000 in 3 years. I'm really excited about the focus on continuing to diversify our business types and helping roles in industries that historically we haven't. I'm really excited also about creating an innovation and R&D arm, and I know in 3 years we'll be standing here talking about some new programs that were developed that we didn't even envision today.
The barriers that I need the job to think about before I get back to work is childcare.
Transportation and the distance, because some of the jobs that I would like to take, I don't take them because of the distance from my house.
The face of an inclusive recovery is recognizing that everybody deserves that opportunity to have a job that has economic mobility with it, and recognizing that employers have a really critical role in that.
The path to accelerate economic opportunity is just to do it, right? Just to make opportunity available.
I'm a first-time homeowner. I don't have to work paycheck to paycheck anymore.
In the next 5 years, I'd like to be running my own store.
As I look around in my community, I would like to see more black businesses. That's why I want to become a business owner. And I want to create generational wealth. Not just wealth for myself and my kids, but for my kids' kids.
Skills is hitting 9 years, 9,000 placements, and what that has most meant to me is really ties in with what the focus of this year's Employment Champions Breakfast is, which is those are 9,000 faces of inclusive recovery, of inclusive economic mobility. That's what it means to me is the people and the lives we've changed. That's what we do it. You might imagine I've seen that video a few times as we've gotten it ready. And the line that really struck me was Brock's comment of wealth not just for me, but for my kids, kids, kids. I feel that. Thank you, Brock. Thank you. You know, one of the things we do at this event every year is we honor 3 organizations or companies who have really set the bar high in what it means to partner to impact unemployment. The first award, our highest honor, the 2021 Champion for the Unemployed Award, goes to the University of Chicago and the University of Chicago Medical Center. They've been an outstanding partner and champion of ours since the beginning. And Bob, I'll never forget the day we first met. UC and UCMC have been longtime partners, hiring over 500 skills placements. It's amazing to think about that when we sat in that office and we had 0. They've been with us since 2014. They've demonstrated their commitment not just to addressing healthcare, but to addressing employment in their community. They started with us with their first board member, Rich Yorio, have continued with Derek Douglas, who is just near and dear to me, and he brought along with us Bob Hanley. So let's hear more from the team at University of Chicago Medical Center, and then we're gonna award Bob.
We're an anchor institution on the south side of Chicago and one of the largest employers, and we have a responsibility to not only provide excellent patient care to the community, but also resources for employment.
One of the biggest social determinants of health is employment. So employers have an obligation to not just do great work, but also to think about the people doing the work and really looking to the community and bringing them in as part of their mission. And we have an opportunity to really invest in our employees that have done great work already, who we know are fantastic and are service oriented and enjoy being in the healthcare space. And those are the people that we want to see grow.
In the future, Skills and UCM are also looking at ways where we can take the models that we have created together and really share those with other healthcare institutions and other interested employers so that we can take our learnings and make sure that that impact happens not only in our own back door, but around Chicago, around Chicagoland, and as Skills expands throughout the nation.
Thank you. Bob Hanley is coming up to accept the award and say a couple comments.
Good morning. So my name, again, is Bob Hanley. I am the Senior Vice President and Chief Human Resources Officer for the University of Chicago Medicine. I have the distinct honor and privilege to receive this important award, the Champion for the Unemployed Award. And I do so on behalf of the University of Chicago and the UChicago Health System. As I look out at all of you, I am humbled that my organization is among some of the greatest that Chicagoland has to offer. All of us working hard to put Chicagoans back to work. Over the past 7 years, our partnership with SCF has led to positive changes in the lives of 568 people through employment with our health system. In this year alone, during a time when hiring is most critical as ever, we're hiring over 100 individuals from the South Side, one of the areas hardest hit by the pandemic. We choose to work with Skills not just because their mission aligns with ours, but because of the undeniable value they bring to our organization. It takes something special, something extra in the heart to work in healthcare. And finding talented individuals who share our passion for improving the lives of others is critical to our success. The talent at SCF that they have found for us has more than a 95% first-year retention rate. This year, with the Nursing Support Assistant Pathway Program, we expanded our partnership to include workforce development. The NSA program is a fully funded educational program that leads to one of the most in-demand jobs in healthcare. And it's just one example of the many creative ways our partnership has worked to develop opportunities for employment for Chicagoans. None of this, of course, would be possible without the support of so many dedicated people. I'd like to acknowledge and say thank you to some of them who are with us this morning. First, I'd like to thank Governor Pritzker for setting time aside from his busy schedule to join us and participate in this event. Your attendance today and support for the work we do is much appreciated. I'd like to thank Derek Douglas, who's our Vice President of Civic Engagement at the University of Chicago, and as Marie mentioned, a member of the Board of Skills for Chicagoland's future. It goes without saying that Derek has been one of our staunchest supporters from the very beginning. Thank you, Derek. And finally, I'd like to say a big thank you to those who, without their steadfast commitment, I wouldn't be standing here this morning accepting this award. These are the people who delivered the results year after year. These are the people who hired 568 people. The formula for their success is simple. They believe in what they're doing, they're passionate, and they're deliberate with their intentions. When those characteristics are shared by a team, it almost always guarantees success. So thank you to Mark Schlosser, Steve Maloney, Betsy Rahill, Erin Mandel, Kelly Judge, Ashley Casilio, all from the UChicago team. And thank you also to Andrew Peck, Rena Patel, Jay Cassidy from the Skills team, and many others. And finally, I'd like to say that this award is not about our organization. It's not about the organizations represented in this room. Instead, it's about the work we are doing to change the lives of thousands of people. It starts with a job. It leads to a career. And along the way, people find purpose, dignity, self-worth, and financial health. All the things everybody wants and needs. What we are doing is honorable work, and I am forever grateful to have met Marie 7 years ago. Special thanks to you, Marie, for all you've done to help change the lives of so many Chicagoans. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce Loretta Smith. Loretta has been with the University of Chicago Medicine for about 3.5 years, and she just recently went through the NSA program that I mentioned earlier. So, Loretta?
Thank you all for having me today. My name's Loretta Smith. I am a lifelong resident of the South Side of Chicago. I grew up in the back of the yards neighborhood. I'm a mother of 3 busy boys, one who is in college, one in high school, and the youngest 3 years old. My journey to this moment started 7 years ago. At the time, I was working for a retirement facility where I had been a few years. I was in a cycle of living from paycheck to paycheck, making minimum wages, and no opportunity to move up. I needed more for my family. During those 7 years, I applied to various hospital roles, but never got callbacks. It was during a visit to University of Chicago Medical Center when I found out about skills. My job at the retirement facility often required me to take trips to UCM, and I eventually grew relationship with staff. One day, I asked a staff member how they were able to get hired. I told them I had been trying for years and I was unsuccessful. Then she told me, it's a company called Skills of Chicagoland. If you go, you will get hired. That night, I filled out the application, and a recruiter called me the next morning. From there, I was hired as a patient transporter for UCM. It was such a blessing for me to get that big break. Now that I had my foot in the door, I was determined to take every opportunity presented to me to continue moving up. When I learned about the Career Pathway Program, I immediately jumped at the opportunity. It was a 10-week training program to become a nursing staff assistant. Through this program, I've been fortunate to earn my patient care tech license. I am now a full-time nursing support assistant. I have a renewed sense of confidence in my ability to provide for my family. I no longer live paycheck to paycheck. Because of my job at UCM, I am a first-time home buyer, and I even bought my first brand new car. Thank you. Working with Skills in UCM has completely changed my life. I have the resources to support my children, participate in activities, and just being able to take them on vacations make me feel very blessed. Thank you, Skills, for helping me and so many people and their families. It is great to have an organization that will advocate for you and help you get the job that you want. And thank you, UCM, for your commitment to hiring local Southside communities members and creating pathway to advancements.
Thank you, Loretta. Hope you enjoy that car, too. That's great. Can't wait to see. We'll check back in with you in a couple years and see what's your next promotion, right? You got the HR guy right there. So, big. You got it right. Network. I just to make a couple remarks before I turn it over to our next awardee and the governor and our chair of our board. It's become all too common to describe the times we're in as unprecedented. And yet for us at Skills, this year has been unlike any other since we've opened our doors. The so-called Great Resignation that we're now in has been brand new territory. In record numbers, as you all know, workers are leaving their jobs, and our employer partners are struggling to attract enough workers to fill demand. In fact, according to a summermonster.com survey, 95% of employees nationwide said they were thinking about quitting their jobs. The pressure on the HR system is extraordinary, and my hat's off to all of you who are in that. It's just stunning. To level the playing field, businesses have had to increase wages and benefits to stay competitive. For instance, Bank of America announced earlier this year a $25 minimum wage goal by 2025. Walmart is offering and paying for all employees to obtain a college degree. Flexibility is also critical, whether locating your company closer to where the talent lives, we're going to hear a little bit about that today, or creating hybrid work environments. But even more important, and what gathers us here today, is that employees are seeking out purpose-driven work. A recent survey by CNBC and SurveyMonkey found that nearly 80% of the national workforce said they value a company that prioritizes diversity and inclusion. Over the last 9 years, before these surveys were done like that, we've been doing just that, partnering with companies to help them find talented workers and help over 9,000 unemployed Chicagoans get into jobs. Our success with our business partner comes down to 3 things. Here's my tips. First, a commitment from the top. CEOs or CHROs need to make clear their intent to hire differently and commit to hiring from Chicago's neighborhoods. It has to start there. Roger Hochschild at Discover declared his intent to build a call center in a Chicago neighborhood, and it happened. Jamie Dimon at JP Chase blasted through the historical FDIC regulations to hire Chicagoans with criminal backgrounds, and he did it, and they did it. Second, partnership. CEOs need both an internal team, you heard Bob talk about that today, to adjust their hiring requirements and change recruiting practices, and an external not-for-profit partner, outsource, where you need the help, like Skills, to find, match, and prepare the very best talent from our Chicago neighborhoods. You can't be good at everything, and that's where Skills steps in. Lastly, perseverance. Our success with our partners takes time to build. It has setbacks and requires persistence on both sides. These stories are great, but they take years to build. And if we stopped, or if our employer stopped every time we had a hiccup, we wouldn't be here today. The longer we work together, the stronger the partnership becomes, and it's unbreakable. These are bold solutions that demonstrate a lasting commitment to change that will help employers win the war for talented workers while also ensuring that we tackle racial inequity in our labor market. At Skills, we are intently focused on our North Star, which is about putting unemployed and underemployed into economic mobility career paths with the very best companies that offer quality jobs. We are driven by the painful statistics that show, even in times of low unemployment, the unemployment rate continues to be double for our Black and brown neighbors what it is for our white neighbors. So how is Skills going to continue to tackle this inequality? Thanks to the help of our outstanding team at Ernst & Young, our new 3-year strategic plan creates our roadmap to create systems change in Chicago by doing the following: helping to cut Black and brown unemployment in half, doubling the number of Fortune 500 companies that we work with, increasing the wages, the placement wages for those that we support in the South and the West Side, and truly, and I hope today helps to do this, increase the number of companies locating and hiring from the South and West Side neighborhoods. We've already started this work, and thanks to your help, this past year, we opened a location in Englewood. Thank you, Ms. O and Aisha, for welcoming us into your community. Now we need your help to fulfill our goals and place another 4,500 Chicagoans into jobs over the next 3 years. And I want to blast through that number. You can help us grow our career pathway programs that you heard about from Bob. You can help us prepare youth for jobs. You can help us now sustain our years in Englewood and our soon-to-be-announced West Side location. You can help us continue to innovate and provide new programs for job seekers and employers, because who knows what's up with the economy in the coming months. We need your help. Every year we need your help. So, if we can, I would like to ask from the bottom of my heart if you can donate right now by texting Skills at 243-725. Grab your phone. Every dollar counts, whatever the dollar amount. Our goal every year is to try to raise $35,000. That's what we raised last year. I know we can do that. If you're at home, you can also click the donate button on your screen. It just takes a couple minutes. Think about it as it could be what you maybe spend on coffee for the week. It could be something more than that. But every dollar counts. And to give you a sense, every $3,000 puts an individual into a job through Skills. So we're going to check back here a little bit, back and forth, to see if we can get up to that $35,000 amount. I hope we have some names going through the screen. I think they're going to show me this at some point. We're going to do this. Thanks, Matt and Bill. So if we can keep doing this, and we will be checking back throughout the program. And hopefully as you're inspired, more will come. I'm honored to introduce our next speaker, someone who truly has put words into action when it comes to equity and inclusion in Illinois, our Governor, Jb Pritzker.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Marie, and thanks to all of you for your support for Skills, for being here today. It is really a pleasure to join you to celebrate all of the work that's been done and of course the work that's ahead. Loretta, thank you for sharing your story with all of us. It's very important for everyone to hear about what you've been through and the inspiration that you provide for so many others. And especially I want to thank you for the heroic work that you did to keep working on the front lines during this pandemic. That is truly something that I want to applaud. To everyone here, you are essential partners in our collective journey toward the robust economic recovery that our residents deserve, and I'm very grateful for it. I also want to offer my congratulations to today's award winners, to Bob Hanley and to Derek Douglas and the U Chicago Medicine team, who have created pathways to employment for hundreds of Chicagoans on the south side of Chicago. I also want to add that U Chicago Medicine has been a great partner to us during the pandemic as we've made some tough decisions along the way about how to manage the pandemic and get everybody through safely. And I want to thank U Chicago Medicine for that assistance along the way. To Roger Hochschild and the entire Discover Financial Services team, who are demonstrating how inclusive hiring can create extraordinary opportunities in Chatham. And I had the great fortune to visit your headquarters in Chatham and can see the great work that's been done. And Commissioner Brandy Kanazi and the Chicago Department of Family and Support Services, who've made meaningful investments in skills and in job seekers all across our city. Despite the economic challenges brought on by the pandemic, I believe fiercely that Illinois can look toward our future with enormous optimism. We have the most important resources that are necessary for strong growth and for a robust recovery. It's an enormously talented workforce, a diverse set of competitive companies, world-class educational institutions, a prime geographic location, and abundant natural resources. And we have the expertise here at Skills to bring our employers and our talent together and ensure real opportunity belongs to all of our communities. Over the course of the pandemic alone, Skills has served as a hub for unemployed Chicagoans seeking opportunity, placing more than 1,000 people into essential jobs since March of 2020. You have proved how hiring with an eye towards equity can make all the difference, offering on-the-ground resources in Black and brown communities that have faced historic disinvestment. Your success is making it loud and clear to Chicago's corporate community and to the corporate community around the nation that the best people to hire are already here among us, from Woodlawn to Rogers Park. By prioritizing underserved populations, you are empowering businesses to find new ways to connect talented workers with a better future, from recruiting new partner companies to funding on-the-job training. You're truly improving people's lives and growing our economy at the same time. And let me be clear, you have a committed partner in innovation and workforce development in the state of Illinois. My administration is dedicated to rebuilding our economy by investing in the people who power it. That's why we've allocated $250 million to Back to Business grants, helping small businesses rehire and rebuild, with an eye toward equity at every stage of those grant distributions. We recently invested more than $40 million in workforce training and youth employment efforts in under-resourced communities. And through our $45 billion Rebuild Illinois Capital Investment Program, and by the way, that's the largest in the history of the state of Illinois, and maybe more importantly, the largest in the entire nation. We created a first-of-its-kind program within that capital program to increase diversity in apprenticeships for construction and the building trades. And to provide families the support they need, we launched a program giving parents seeking new employment 3 months of childcare. That's a big change. Usually, to get childcare assistance, you had to already be working. Now we're giving people 3 months to go seek work while their child is cared for. I believe, and Skills is proving it, that Illinois is already home to the talent, diversity, and ingenuity that is critical to our recovery and to our future growth. So I want to say thank you. Truly, thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone in this room and to Skills for the work that you do and for giving hope and opportunity to so many. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Governor, so much for taking that time to do this today. We really appreciate it. It's my pleasure now to present our 2021 Champion for the Community Impact Award to Discover Financial Services in recognition for their efforts to bring equity and opportunity to Chicago's South Side through their new Chatham Customer Care Center. I first had the opportunity to meet with Discover when I had an opportunity to meet with Andy, their CHRO, Andy Eckfeld, their CHRO, several years ago. And that chance meeting, which came about because of one of our board members, actually led to an exchange of some cards and information. And I didn't know if I would hear from Discover again. To be honest, they were up north. Andy was lovely, seemed really committed, but I didn't know that I would hear from them again. And then I'm going to let Roger tell the story. But when I got that phone call back and was asked to have very confidential conversations and to bring our team to talk to them about what was possible in the South and the West Sides, what was possible in terms of call centers, to talk to them about the call center deserts that exist in Chicago. We kept that quiet and worked with them for a year, and I'm going to let him say what's happened with that. But I do want to, before I announce him, I want to also share that I hope that many of you are inspired today to do this and know that we actually, because of our work with Discover and Blue Cross, launched a neighborhood impact consulting service line so that those of you who are inspired are welcome to slip me your card to have a confidential conversation about the ability to expand into our neighborhoods in the future. So let's hear from Discover.
I'm proud to announce that Discover is opening a new customer care center here in Chatham.
We chose Chatham because of its longstanding community, business presence, great public transportation, and many, many people that could work at Discover live within 5 miles of here in Chatham and in the surrounding communities.
We started this project to put a center in Chatham, believing it was about external impact. How do we bring economic impact to the community? Obviously, 1,000 jobs will help bring economic impact when they're really truly focused in this area. But the way that we build this facility, the way that we staff this facility, you know, the vendors that supply us, the restaurants that help us with food service here, all bring economic opportunity to the community.
We believe in every dimension that the Chatham Customer Care Center will be better than all of our other locations because of the opportunity we're giving people that are passionate and capable of doing a great job. So my hope is that as companies take a look at the work that Discover is doing, they not just see, you know, the initial cost and the initial upstart and the initial task that it's going to take for them to get to day one, but they view it as an investment not just into their company, but also into diversity, inclusion, and communities as well.
We were able to move really quickly from idea to commitment to open. None of that would have been possible without access to Skills, counsel, network, data, and their challenges to us, not to move faster, but to keep us moving smartly.
I'm going to keep my remarks brief because the next speaker is going to talk much more eloquently about what we're trying to accomplish together in Chatham. But on behalf of everyone at Discover, I would like to thank Skills for Chicagoland's Future for this recognition, but more importantly, express our gratitude for their invaluable guidance all throughout this process as we set out to create and staff this center. We decided to open a new customer care center because we recognized that traditional corporate site selection is contributing to inequality, and we wanted to help break that cycle. Jobs are the best investment that you can make in a community, and they're particularly important in areas like Chicago's South Side, which has been harmed by systemic racism. Our Chatham Center is a way for Discover to play a part in strengthening our hometown by offering quality jobs with competitive pay and benefits, hiring diverse suppliers, and providing community support through partnerships with nonprofits, all while benefiting from the great talent that resides within Chatham. The vast majority of our hires live within a 5-mile radius of the center, and our Chatham agents are already exceeding customer experience goals, proving that while opportunity is not distributed equally, talent is. The impact of this center extends beyond the agent positions created. We've exceeded the Chicago minority and women business enterprise spend requirements by more than 2 times in preparation for this site, and are partnering with community-based organizations to help address local needs. It's also helping transform how we operate all across Discover, strengthening our culture through greater awareness, appreciation, and commitment to DE&I. And in fact, we've had employees all across the country join Discover because they appreciate what we're doing in Chatham. We hope this new facility will serve as a springboard for future economic growth in this vibrant Black community, and we encourage other companies, just as Mayor Lightfoot has encouraged companies, to create jobs in communities that need them most. When businesses provide opportunities to underrepresented groups, everyone benefits: our employees, our customers, and certainly our communities. So now it is my pleasure to introduce one of my colleagues from the Chatham Center, a member of our team there, Brock Thurman.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to say I'm excited and honored to be here. It's an honor and pleasure to be here. Thank you to the Skills team for inviting me to speak to you all today. My name is Brock Thurman. I am 24 years old, and I am an account specialist at Discover's new customer care center in Chatham. The Chatham neighborhood was once considered the backbone of Black economic mobility in Chicago. But if you Google Chatham today, you'll find a different reality that tells stories of a hurt and forgotten community. If you only read the news headlines, you may believe that neighborhoods on the South Side hold no value. But if you believe that, it just means you haven't been there and definitely haven't met people like me. I like to think of myself as an all-around Chicago guy. My family is from Auburn, Gresham, just a few short distance from Chatham. Growing up, I lived in the Austin community on the west side as well. Whoop, whoop. My high school years were a little rough, but I got myself together and was accepted into Mississippi Valley State University. After 2 years, I ended up coming back home after my great-grandmother passed. I needed to hit a pause and put some money in my pocket. I've worked since high school at a variety of jobs. I love jobs that allow me to interact with people. I call myself a people person. I taught swim lessons at the YMCA on the west side for 3 years, but I left because I needed a job with higher earning potential and a career path. I tried working in restaurants. That wasn't me. And I did demolition with my grandfather, and I also worked at a steel mill, but it just didn't feel right. Then I landed a job at working customer service for a bank. I have found a role that exactly what I wanted to do. Then the pandemic hit, I was laid off. I love the work, I just can't sit around. I call myself a worker bee. And as the oldest of 6 siblings, I'm looked up to at home always. So when I was out of work, it was felt by everybody. One day, a former coworker told me about the new job at Discover. It sounded great, but was it real? Full-time, well-paying jobs in Chatham, for real? Typically, jobs like that are in the Loop or the South Suburbs. I can't get to no job in the South Suburbs. I take the bus. Not close to where I'm from at all, but this was different. It was perfect, and I got hired. Since I started working at Discover, I feel like my future is within reach because I can actually see it. I'm fortunate to work for leaders like Wati, someone who believes in me and pushes me towards my long-term goals. I can see my next step as a team lead, management, and even learning the entire operation. Finishing up college, especially, I gotta earn my degree. Then owning my own business so I can bring more jobs to my community and with them, generational wealth to Chicago's Black community. Thank you, Discover, for seeing the value and investing in Chatham. Thank you, Discover, Skills, and everyone else involved, and for seeing the value in me and making my goals and dreams a reality.
Please welcome the Chairman of Skills Board of Directors, Mark Hoppelmazian, President and Chief Executive Officer of Hyatt Hotels Corporation.
Good morning, everybody. And thank you, Brock. Thank you, Loretta. You are the stars of the show today, and the real reason why I have never-ending energy and commitment to this work, because it's your stories that actually, and your success and your perseverance and your stick-to-itiveness that is actually the magic that we are all inspired by. So thank you so much. So there are many people that I want to thank for being here, but I have to start with my own team here at the Hyatt Regency Chicago, because the last 20 months has been horrific in the hospitality industry. This is one of the very few gatherings, and as I swear, for those of you who were here last year, you might remember we were in a similarly sized room with 5 tables, with no more than 25 people. That was the then restriction in gatherings, but we were here. And today, this is just amazing. Thank you for being here. I have said for a long time that I have tremendous confidence in the recovery of hospitality over time, because the incredible energy that comes from and the fulfillment that comes from human connectivity. This is proof positive that that's true. I have hugged many people here today. I'm a hugger. But I'm so thrilled to see everybody and the energy that is incredibly palpable. I also want to say a special thank you to the governor. The governor has not missed one of our breakfasts for some time, including last year when there was that 25-person restriction. So that speaks volumes to me about a real prioritization on his calendar for what we do. Bob, as a longtime patient of UCM, thank you. As an alum of the University of Chicago Graduate School of Business, now known as the Booth School, sorry, thank you. But most importantly, just recognize that UCM is in the South Side, it is a part of the South Side, it serves the South Side, it employs from the South Side, obviously. I had the amazing opportunity to visit Skills Englewood location a few weeks ago. I was there. Novasia's here today. She runs the Resident Association of Greater Englewood, and so I did a tour of the neighborhood, but also spent some time there. And while I was there were 2 NSA nursing support assistants in training at the Skills office. So when you hear the acronym NSA, some of you might think National Security Agency or whatever it's known as in the United States. This is actually a security agency of a different type. This actually is providing security to people and their families. much more critical on the ground here in Chicago and in many cities around the country right now. So thank you to UCM. Thank you, Loretta. It's funny, I went up to Loretta and I said, "Are you nervous?" And she said, "No, I got this. I do this every Sunday at my church." But I also have to respect Brock, who got up at 3 o'clock in the morning to be here and was sweating being on stage. So both are realities here. So thank you both. Roger, you are, I've said this many times, you and Discover have been an incredible inspiration. It's been humbling to be a member of the business community and watch Discover have this incredible impact. If it wasn't clear to you from his remarks, Chatham is the #1 performing center in Discover's network. That is just, and you'll hear from Dr. Goger from the Brookings Institution in just a minute about the fact that it's not talent that is not evenly distributed, it's opportunity, and that's just super inspiring to me. I also have to say a special thank you to Brandy Kanazi at DFSS, who has, for years, had persistent and really constructive engagement, providing feedback, but also providing support to skills over time. DFSS remains a critical vehicle in our city to help support families, especially during the dislocations of COVID. It's never been more important to have really smart and well-positioned support, and you'll hear from Brandy later, but thank you so much for all that you're doing. And Samir Mayakar, the deputy mayor, is here, and I really want to thank him. Michael Fosnacht, who is the head of World Business Chicago, my good friend Jim Coleman from Accenture. These are all people that are part of an ecosystem here in Chicago, and that's actually what I really wanted to mention to you, which is this is an ecosystem. It takes the adage is it takes a village. Well, in this case, it takes a city with every element of its participants to make this work. I just want to point out a couple of things that Skills has done uniquely. First, commitment. Skills never went dark, not for a minute, during COVID. Continued to work to try to get people put into jobs, even as jobs were evaporating left, right, and center. And most importantly, actually demonstrated incredible agility and adaptability. Marie just talked about the new neighborhood support initiative, basically a consultancy effort for Skills that was born out of the work that was done for Discover. And there are other companies that are coming towards this work, and when you see Discover's success, how can you deny it? But she didn't stop there. She actually, even before COVID hit, had gone out, this is not, by the way, at my direction, I wish I had thought of this as a specific initiative, got together with CARA, which is a workforce, a supply-side workforce organization in Chicago. So Skills, for those of you who don't understand this clearly, is a demand-side workforce company that is enterprise, which is they work closely with companies to identify the jobs and go and pull people through training, through screening, through interviewing to place them that yields 95% retention after 1 year. I'm not surprised by the data. It's stunning to hear, but we have longitudinal information going back over a decade now, because Skills is very data-based in what they do. And that initiative was to go into the supply side of the workforce community ecosystem here in Chicago to create something called the CBO Collective, the Community-Based Organization Collective of 15, is it 15? 15 workforce-focused organizations, not-for-profit organizations. This is simply unprecedented in Chicago's history. 7 years ago, I sat with the head of the Chicago Community Trust and tried to put together the framework for what Marie created, frankly, in her spare time with tremendous help from CARA. It is remarkable to see not-for-profit organizations working in a collective way to the outcome that we're looking for, which is putting more people into great jobs and having them stay in those jobs. And it's hard. It's hard to do that. It doesn't exist in any other city in the United States. So this is remarkable stuff that just demonstrates an incredibly inclusive approach to this issue because it does require an ecosystem. The second thing I was going to mention is the inclusivity with respect to how this work is done. So I talked to you about the fact that Skills works with companies. Well, they have to practice empathy and understand what the needs are and then take action against that in order to actually do their jobs well. So what is the Englewood location all about? It's about the training that I just mentioned to you earlier. It's about being in the community itself and understanding what's going on there. And I agree with Brock. If you're writing off the South Side and the West Side, it's because you haven't been there and you haven't met the people. So you've got to go, and you've got to understand and recognize that the reason that the city is supporting the Southwest Investment Initiative is because there's tremendous talent there. And getting, they've been suffering from a, population curve that's going in the wrong direction. I think Greater Englewood has half the population as it did 10 years ago. And it's so clearly a problem there, but the talent is there, and in many other neighborhoods, and that's really what we have to restore, and that's what Skills has done with respect to the South Side location and eventually the West Side location coming soon. Finally, I mentioned data earlier. The reason why I was prepared to and enthusiastic about joining the Skills board is because my first introduction to Skills was to visit their office. And when I visited their office, the first thing I saw, you're confronted with this huge screen at the time, and it had all the data for the cohorts of the people that they had hired, and they leave it up, they track it. And they track retention after a year, after 2 years. They track compensation levels, and they track persistence, people who might have left the job that they got placed in, but they went on to a better job. How do they know this? Data. So this Skills has never before confused activity with achievement. Sorry to borrow John Wooden's famous quote. They've always been focused on impact. And the expert professionalism with which they do that is really what inspires me to know that the investments that we put behind Skills are really well placed and they have tremendous impact. So with that, I'm going to remind you my request to please, wow, we're close. Let's go. 243-725, text Skills and make a donation. But I think these are the key tenets. It's inclusivity, it's the practice of empathy with companies and pulling people into jobs, it's being in the neighborhoods, and it's steadfast focus on impact, not just activity. And it's done this, I think, remarkably well with important partners, and we will hear from Brandy Kanazi in a few minutes. Right now, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to Annalise Goger. Dr. Goger is at the Brookings Institution and has done a lot of research and work in and around workforce and the opportunity gap as opposed to the skills gap. So with that, let me welcome Dr. Goger.
Good morning, everybody. This is such a different experience to be in a room with people again. And actually, I'm embarrassed to say it's my first time in Chicago, but it won't be my last, I can assure you of that. It's really an honor and a pleasure to be here today. I want to thank Marie and her staff at Skills for Chicagoland's Future, as well as the Hyatt staff who've made this breakfast for us and the fresh coffee. So I'm coming at this talk today from my own perspective, which is as the first in my family to go to college. And one thing that I've learned about from that experience is that it's not how smart you are, it's not how hard you work, although you certainly have to work hard, but oftentimes it comes down to knowing the unwritten rules that it takes to succeed and knowing the right people who can give you an opportunity or who can mentor you. And I think that this is something that is underappreciated in general in our workforce policy and in how we approach economic development and talent development. I'm looking for the clicker. Ah, here it is. All right. So I'm going to talk with you, I'm going to show a little bit of data from Chicago and then talk about what I think some of the systemic challenges are, and then I'm going to share a few solutions. I am going to go pretty quickly through what is some very technical content, and I'm happy to do a follow-up virtual event of some kind where we can do more Q&A and be more interactive, but I just wanted to kind of set the stage and spark your interest. So, a lot of this talk is based on a paper that I wrote with Luther Jackson, who is at the Workforce Development Board in Sunnyvale called NovaWorks. And he and I were talking right after the pandemic about how the workforce system tends to say, you walk in a job center and they say, what are your barriers? So then you check off, you know, I'm a person with a disability or I'm a veteran, and we have services that we funnel you to. So in a sense, what we're doing is we're defining people by what they don't have, instead of taking the time to ask them, what is it you actually want to do and how can we help you get there? And so many times we blame the individual for what I believe is really a failure of the system or a failure of the institutions to give that person an opportunity. And instead of focusing on what someone can bring to the table, what they can show you that they already know, well, we use things like degrees to screen people out without looking any deeper. And so the vision that we created in this was we need to shift away from someone shows up and they have a skills gap, what you don't have, to someone shows up and what can they do, what is their potential, and trying to assess based on that. So we called it closing the opportunity gap. At Brookings Metro, we every year come out with what's called the Metro Monitor, and these are just 3 of the indicators that we track. And so I'm going to show you Chicago's, how it ranks among the 53 largest metro areas in a minute. It's 39th in growth, and then 25th in prosperity and racial inclusion. And the point I want to make here is if you're talking about opportunity and how to create it, to me this says, first, you need to create economic development with good jobs, not by recruiting businesses from outside in, not by bringing talent in from outside, but by really focusing on generating good jobs from within your communities here and supporting small businesses, medium-sized businesses to grow and succeed in Chicago. And then also that these numbers clearly indicate that there's much more progress that can be made on sharing the benefits of growth and making sure that there's racial equity in the region. So, if you're looking at the future, then you might want to look at young people. So if we look at the population under 15 in this metro area, it's majority Hispanic or Latino and Black, 59%. So not only is the future of talent diverse in Chicago, but the future of consumption, the consumers that you're selling products and services to, are also diverse. And so the future means we have to embrace equity or we miss a lot of opportunity for growth. And then when I talk with talent, one time I was in Oakland interviewing talent, women and people of color who were trying to get into tech. And the thing that I heard the most from them was, I feel like I'm on the outside and I'm not an insider. And so I don't know what the landscape is. When I meet an employer, I don't know how to sell myself to them. I don't know what they're looking for. I don't know really what are my options. I know you can do something like user experience, but what does that actually mean? What do I need to do? And so this information asymmetry is what economists call it. I think is a major barrier to opportunity. People are not exposed at an early age to, these are my career options. It's either go to college or good luck. Maybe work at Burger King or in retail. That's all that we really share with people. And I think this is a really producing a situation where people are missing opportunities that are there because they're not aware that they're there in the first place. Another gap that I really want to highlight is the blanket exclusion of having a conviction record. So when you have a background check that just eliminates everyone without regard to how much it fits that position or not, then you're basically excluding a massive pool of talent that could actually be a good fit for your company. So there are an estimated 70 million Americans who have a conviction record. And a lot of companies just, if you have any background at all, it's done, even if it's something like marijuana in an area that's now legal. So we're excluding a lot of people without, again, looking deeper and getting proximate and finding out what is that person's actual fit with my company. And then finally, firms with diverse leadership teams actually get better results. So this is not about just, let's give back to the community and do this for charity. There is a business case for this. And I would argue there's also evidence from diverse teams in and of themselves. So having diverse teams means you can identify new markets, new potential customers, and how to reach them more effectively. You can have, because different people can have different life experiences, they can bring that to the table, and it creates an innovative environment for the economy. So quickly, some solutions. So one is I argue that instead of this college or nothing, most industrialized countries have more than one way into a quality job. In many countries, you can choose the college path, or you can choose to work while you're also learning, and that learning is oriented towards that degree. You're basically doing an apprenticeship or some kind of training within the company, but you're earning a degree, an applied degree, whether that's cybersecurity, insurance, etc. We don't have a really strong system for that here, so I think we need to build those systems. Second, if you're an employer, I think the future of work means employers need to engage more in not just consuming talent and thinking that it's a finished thing that you're taking off the shelf, but actually helping to produce that skilled and qualified workforce. So playing a much bigger role as technologies are deployed and things change faster and faster and faster in helping to create that labor pool. And I think one of the reasons why employers in the US in particular underinvest in training is because it's accounted for as a cost without accounting for the benefits. And some of the biggest benefits can come from reduced hiring costs and lower turnover. When employers have tried things like apprenticeship, they do find often that you have this ready pool of people who don't actually need much onboarding because they've already learned your culture and they know how to work in your workplace. There's a few other things that I think employers can do. Number one, executive leadership. So the executives in a company set the tone. And so I think in specific regions like Chicago, if executives get together and make a specific tangible commitment to hiring with racial equity, you can put some numbers and some goals to that, and then you can start to see some results. But then second, executing that means looking at your hiring process. Are you screening out by degrees for things that don't really require a degree? Are you, does your interview process basically rely on ways of showing privilege? And are you using background checks that are blanket? And then what are you offering to people to move up? So are you offering incumbent worker training and learning opportunities once somebody gets that first job? And is it just a dead end? And then finally, one of the things that is kind of a bee in my bonnet around our workforce policies, we design solutions without even bothering to talk to people about what it is they really need. So we assume we know what the problem is, and often we assume the problem is with them. Instead of assuming that, or instead of starting with actually doing focus groups or interviews with the populations that you're trying to serve and find out what it is that they actually need, and then identify what you already have to meet those needs. And so on the top, we have a woman who left prison, and now she's working at a major tech company through an apprenticeship opportunity that she had. And then the man at the bottom was displaced as a chef in Atlanta. We interviewed him about going back to school while he was laid out. So I'll end it with a quote from Leila Jannah, which is that many people have already said today, but that is that talent is everywhere and opportunity is not. And Harvard researchers have shown that if we invested more equally in our talent, what they call the lost Einsteins, we could quadruple innovation in the United States. And so I think, but we all, like Mark was saying, we all have to play a part in this, including employers and educators and community-based organizations and job seekers. So thanks again for having me. It's a delight to be here, and I hope that this sparks some stimulating conversations.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and I'm here to offer a huge congratulations to today's awardees. I'd also like to give a special shout out to Commissioner Brandy Kanazi and her team from the Chicago Department of Family and Support Services, who are among the incredible recipients. And I commend Skills for spotlighting our inclusive, equitable pandemic recovery at this year's annual Employment Champions Breakfast. We all have a role to play in our social and economic recovery efforts. And connecting unemployed and underemployed residents to meaningful career paths is a vital component to that recovery. On behalf of a grateful city, I want to thank Skills for being a leader in this work and for inspiring hope across our city. And thank you to tonight's awardees, DFSS, University of Chicago Medicine, and Discover, who have each taken special care this year to commit this inclusive hiring and create positive community impacts. With your commitment and compassion, our city and our residents will remain on the road to recovery and a brighter future. Thank you so much, and please continue to be safe.
Thank you. I think the mayor knew we were going to run a little long, but I promise you it will not be tonight. We are almost done, and I really thank everybody for staying. I think everybody has the best get out of jail free card, right? Because when's the last time we were all together? And I think people are just so excited to share their stories today, so thank you for honoring that. The final word today is for the 2021 Advocate for the Unemployed Award, and as you've figured out, it's going to the Chicago Department of Family and Support Services. I just want to give one personal remark on this, which is, many people don't know, actually, Skills' predecessor organization is called Chicago Career Tech, which is where the Skills model came from. It's important because we have now had 3 commissioners from the Department of Family Support Services and 3 mayors who have all, without ever having a hiccup, have funded Skills and the model every single step. Regardless of politics, we just completely align on the work. And so we are so glad, Brandy. It was so exciting to see them have an internal hire and to hire you. We love your team, and we've enjoyed working with the teams forever. Samir, thank you for your support for us. But let's look at DFSS.
When people come to DFSS, they could be experiencing a lot of different presenting needs. They could be homeless, in need of childcare services. They could be in need of a job, as well as food insecure. And so our goal is to make sure that no matter what their need is, we're able to serve them holistically.
For us, we are focused on getting people back to work. Our goal is to make sure that people who are struggling with those barriers that keep them from employment opportunity, they have access to local job opportunity when it arises. The value that we see Skills bringing is they have now become advocates for those same vulnerable populations, and they're sharing with employers that they work with that even though they come from community areas, neighborhoods, zip codes, that have been impacted by racist economic practices, there's still talent there. There's still a wealth of talent that they can tap into and help improve their bottom line. And so that's the value they bring to the Department of Family and Support Services, but I think that's the value they also bring to the local workforce system.
We rely on our nonprofit partners to ensure that we're able to lift this work up and provide opportunities for those who need them most. Our nonprofit partners like Skills, they're able to go into places and have conversations with business leaders to ensure that they're not only advocating for people who need these jobs, but also highlight the skills and the talents that our workforce has. If we're going to rebuild our communities and ensure that people have access and opportunity, partners like Skills are important in doing this work.
Good morning and thank you. My name is Brandy Kanazi, and it is my pleasure and honor to lead the Chicago Department of Family and Support Services. First, I just want to thank my team that's here today, Mark Sanders and Elisa Rodriguez. This award means so much to the DFSS team, and it just represents their hard work and dedication over the last 20 months. When COVID-19 hit, Our team was ready from day one. We really went into overdrive when everybody else went home. Our folks sped up. A lot of people spent a lot of time working with individuals living on the street to make sure that our homeless residents had the services and supplies that they needed to stay safe. We also made sure that we were able to support our youngest learners through virtual learning when they couldn't go into the classroom. And so when I think about the work that we do, our workforce team has been so important and at the helm of this work. We fund about 360 nonprofit organizations across Chicago, and so during the pandemic, it was really important that we made sure that these organizations remained whole and that they were able to support our residents. I tell people, when people come to DFSS, when people call us, they're having the worst day of their life, and it is so important for us to be there for them. It's really important that we provide individuals with the right services they need at the right time, or else we're really not doing their job. And so when I think about the workforce team, I really pushed them, right? I was like, we've got to make sure that we're providing and we're connecting with residents. If they can't come in to get their workforce training that they need, we've got to make sure that we're providing it in a virtual format. And so, again, when I think about skills and their willingness to take our challenge, they were right there. I also want to just thank the mayor for her dedication and support to the work of Chicago's most vulnerable residents. Last year, when other cities didn't have a youth jobs program, Chicago did. We were able to make sure that through virtual workforce, we were able to support over 23,000 young people with job opportunities. Over the next 3 years, we're going to be able to support an additional 29,000 young people with jobs. I'm also really grateful for the work in our workforce team and their commitment. Over the next 3 years, we're investing over $20 million to support people who have returning residents, as well as those who are the hardest to serve, to make sure that they have the skills and job training they need. We're not backing down, folks. We are just gearing up for the work that we're doing, and I just want to thank you all for being in this room, for being a champion of DFSS, for supporting our work. My team, they are the unsung heroes, and so I'm so excited to take this award back to the office and share this with them, because on those days when they worked 18 hours a day, they gave up their weekends and their family time. This is what it really comes down to. It's about making sure that we're making a difference in people's lives. So thank you all so much, and thank you, Skills, for honoring us this morning.
Okay, we're almost done. Thank you, Commissioner Knazy, sorry, thank you so much. And let's look, I think we are so close. Did we hit them? Oh, we are so close. All right, we're so close. Let's see if we can get a couple more in to hit that. But for all of you who've given, thank you so much. Still time to finish up, and we'll leave it open for today. Final thank yous, and we're done until we see you next year. Thank you to Hyatt for hosting us, and all the Hyatt hospitality staff for being here and doing this today. We really appreciate it. Thank you to the entire Skills team. Thank you to our marketing development team, and each of you for caring and listening. I also want to thank, again, two key pro bono partners. Ernst & Young gave us a 20-person team to do our strategic plan. I swear it was 20. We're grateful for that. And thank you also to Caraloop for providing all the services to our staff. Those of you who want, please stick around. We're going to do some networking afterwards. If you want to talk to Dr. Goger, you want to talk to Mark Hoppel-Mazing, if you want to talk to myself, we'll be around. And if not, grab some coffee. We'll see you next October. Congratulations, and let's put more people back to work. Thank you. Skills board members, if you can come to the corner so we can take a picture. Skills board members, and then any of the award winners, if we can do a quick picture.